Dortmund versus Bayern Munich, guys. We are finally there. It's the Champions League final of 2013. It's the game we've all been waiting for. I'm excited. You're excited. Your whole family's excited. The whole world is going to be watching this incredible game tonight at Wembley. And it's time to break it down. And talking of breakdowns, this could be the last episode until next season, guys. So I'd really appreciate your support. Feel free to hit that like button. I've really enjoyed producing these videos. It's awesome talking about these huge games, and I love doing the research. You know, I've just spent the last hour going through internet posts talking about the game tonight. Lots of statistics and facts being thrown around. It's just it really interests me, and I'm so glad I've got a series kind of like talk about this thing. So, by the way, the simmed match in the background is obviously Dortmund versus Bayern Munich at Wembley. I just want to say this one thing. The goalkeepers are insane in this match. They are actually insane. I have no idea how they managed to pull off so many saves, and you're going to see that throughout the game. It's a real cracking match. But anyway, we want to talk about the Champions League this year first. That's what I'm going to talk about first. Talk about how high the standards have been. You know, some of the shocking scores that we've seen. We'll just kind of talk about what I think it's been like this year. I think this Champions League this season has been completely different from those in the past. And like I just said, there's real high standards this year. I feel like every team, although they might not be playing as well as they have done in the past, everyone's been playing at a similar level. And I think that's the standard that's been set. One thing I will say, though, is there has been some poor performances from teams. There is one that comes to mind, and I don't mean it in a bad way or anything like that, but Manchester City, again, really underperforming in this season's competition, like they did in last year as well. But there were other teams that didn't really perform to the best of their ability, I would say. I think Juventus actually disappointed me as well. I know they came up against Bayern Munich, and you could argue they're the best team in the world at the moment. But I don't know what it was. Juventus, I thought at the beginning of the season they would be in the final at least. So that was a bit of a shocker for me. And talking of shockers, what about some shocking scores? Bayern Munich beating Barcelona 7-0 over 2 legs. I think that is absolutely incredible. And I wish I put a bet on something like that. Can you imagine the odds of that happening? It's so slim. And Bayern Munich, again, just showing they probably are the best team in the world right now, beating Barcelona over 2 legs. So it wasn't just a one-off game where Barcelona might have played bad, or Bayern just had a really amazing game. You just get those games every now and again. It wasn't, because it was over 2 legs. It just proves their dominance there. Barcelona just looked like a kids team. They just could not handle the quality of Bayern Munich, and that was really interesting to me. But not just interesting, it was actually quite shocking. Because no one really expected that to happen. There was also some surprise wins. I know people know what's coming here. I'm obviously going to put this in the video, but Arsenal beat Bayern Munich 2-0 away. We beat them at their stadium 2-0 where they hadn't lost. They barely conceded. And that for me is the most surprising result, I think, of the whole season globally this year. I think anyway. It was so unlikely for that to happen. I thought we were going to get smashed 3-0 or something like that. And we beat them, and we almost progressed, which would have been the biggest upset of the year for me. But the main thing, the German league, the Bundesliga, does this show that the fact that there's 2 German teams in the final, that the Bundesliga is now one of the best leagues in the world? I think it does. Is it the best, though? I don't think it's quite there yet. I think there's still some room for improvement there. There could be a few more teams that were a bit more competitive. You look at the Premier League, there's at least 6 teams that are up there, right? The La Liga is pretty much 2 or 3, and it's kind of the same in the Bundesliga. There seems to be 3 or 2 teams that are really up there. So once I think they get a couple more teams, I still think the Premier League is the best league in the world because of what I just said. That there's 6 teams that really go for it. I think once the other 2 leagues catch up to that, I think they'll be the best leagues in the world. But I'm not saying they're not I don't want to say the best league in the world, but maybe the best teams in the world. You look at La Liga, Real Madrid and Barcelona, you could say are in the top 3, So 2 teams there are, up there. And then obviously you've got Bundesliga with Dortmund and Bayern Munich there, who are arguably in the top 5 as well. I'd say Dortmund's 5th maybe, Bayern top, Barcelona and Real Madrid in 2nd and 3rd, Man United in 4th maybe. It's a difficult one. I mean, to be honest, the way I kind of think of it is, imagine if you put those teams in the Premier League, where would they finish? For me, Bayern and Dortmund would easily be top 3 in the BPL. And I also think in the Liga, if you put Real Madrid and Barcelona in the Premier League, I think they'd also make it top 3. If you chucked all of the top teams around the world in the Premier League, what would happen? Leave a comment. Who do you think would be the top 6? That'd be interesting, eh? If you chucked all the leagues in one. That's what I'm hoping you guys to leave comments on. That would be really interesting. And let's go on to my predictions. So I always do a prediction in this series. I'm going to talk about why I think this is going to happen. I reckon it's going to be 2-1 to Bayern Munich. And I'm saying that because purely I think Bayern Munich have the upper hand today. I think they are the stronger team. They have got the stronger squad. But I think this is what's going to happen. Dortmund will score early on. I'm talking first 10 minutes. They will score. You know, they'll have that confidence boost. And I think it'll be one of those games where it'll just be 1-0 for a long, long, long time. Literally till, I'm going to say, the 60th, maybe the 70th minute in the second half. And Bayern will make some sort of change that will just, you know, they'll shrink down that Dortmund side, make them real, maybe even push them out wide or really restrict them down the middle, and they will pounce. And I'm going to go for a real quick 2 goals from Bayern. I'm talking 2 goals in 4 minutes to make it 2-1. That's what I think is going to happen. It's a pretty detailed prediction. But if that doesn't happen, I'm still going to go with the win for Bayern Munich because like I said, I think they are the stronger team. I think they've got the upper hand. I really do. They do a full strength squad as well. We'll talk about some injury news and stuff like that. Goetze, as you know, is injured, with his hamstring, and he will not play for Dortmund tonight, and possibly will never. Well, he's not going to play for Dortmund again. It's not even possibly. It's a fact. He will not be playing for Dortmund again. So I don't know how he's going to feel about that, but a lot of people are saying that he's faking an injury tonight, so he doesn't have to play against Bayern Munich. So if you don't know, Goetze is actually moving to Bayern Munich in July. I think it's July 1st. So it's like Arsenal to Man United. It's actually like Arsenal to Tottenham in a way. So it's a real controversial move. But if you think that Goetze has actually faked this injury, just think about it for a second, guys. This is the Champions League final. Do you really think a guy that age, or it doesn't even matter about age, but someone who's in the Champions League final, why would they fake it? Just because it's against the team they're going to go and play for. I mean, I guess it's a little bit awkward for him, but of course he'd play if he could. And I'm pretty sure Goetze is literally injured, and there's no point in him playing because he's just going to hamper the side. So I don't think he's faking it, but I'll leave that down to you guys to have your own opinions. Piszczek will play despite having a hip surgery soon. He's got some problem with his hip. He's going to be out for 5 months, I think it is. Lewandowski's last game for Dortmund, do you reckon? Where's he going to go? Which team is he going to play for? I think for me, Dortmund, if they're going to offload Lewandowski, it has to be outside of the Bundesliga. So I think personally he's going to go to Real Madrid or Chelsea. We'll see. I'd love him to come to the Premier League, although I can't help but feel that if he's not at Arsenal, he's going to be doing damage to Arsenal, obviously, and making it even harder for us to get into the top 4, maybe even top 3. So ideally, I think Real Madrid would be a better suiting option for him. But, you know, with the spending power of Chelsea as well, you can never say never. Oh my God, Justin Bieber. Anyway, Bayern Munich have a full-strength squad, except from Badstuber, who's obviously been out for a while. And they think he's going to be out for a further 10 months as well. So Bayern have literally a full squad to choose from, which, again, it's just an advantage, isn't it? Right, okay, we're going to move on to results so far. So on the screen, you're going to see images popping up. We're going to talk about Bayern first and look at their results so far. I'm going to quickly go through them as it shows up on the screen. They won 2-1 at home to Valencia. They lost 3-1 to Bate Borisov. Now, I remember this happening, and no one really thought anything of it because at the time, Bayern hadn't done this amazing season so far. So then it was just like an off game, right? Then look at this. 1 game lost in the rest of this. They won 1-0 at Lille. At home to Lille. They won away 6-1 to Lille. They absolutely smashed Lille. Valencia, they drew 1-1. Then they won 4-1 against Bate Borisov. So really recovered from their 3-1 loss there. They then won 3-1 at the Emirates, which obviously we all remember when they scored that first goal. We all thought, oh shit, this is going to be like a 7-0. But then, the big game, they lost 2-0 at home to Arsenal. They then went on to win the next 4 games. 2-0 at Juventus, 2-0 at Juventus, 4-0 at home to Barcelona, and then 3-0 at the Nou Camp. So that is a really strong end to their campaign there. 2 losses. Isn't the best. Obviously, they wouldn't have wanted that. They had 1 draw as well, and then won the rest. So a really good run from Bayern there. Let's talk about Dortmund now. They started off strong, but not as dominant as Bayern, I would say, despite their loss to Bate Borisov. 1-1 away at Manchester City, 2-1 at home to Real Madrid. I remember that one. That kind of kick-started this form. 2-2 at Real Madrid, so you know, over 2 legs, they've pretty much beaten Real Madrid there. I know it was group stage games though. They won 4-1 at Ajax, which was a really impressive game, and then they beat Manchester City. They won. They drew 2-2 with Shakhtar Donetsk, and then won 3-0 at at home to Shakhtar Donetsk. They then drew 0-0 away to Malaga, and then obviously that very controversial last few minutes at home to Malaga when they won in the last few minutes. I think actually it was the last few seconds. They beat them 3-2. A little bit controversial, but I think they deserved it overall. They needed that bit of luck, obviously. They then beat 4-1, Real Madrid 4-1, sorry, and then lost 2-0 away to Real Madrid, but obviously they still progressed. So there you go. I think looking at those results, Bayern have definitely got the upper hand there as well. They have hit some really strong form. 4 wins in a row compared to Dortmund's 2 wins in 4, 1 draw and 1 loss. So going into the final, Bayern are definitely in form. They've got better form going. And it's going to make for a very interesting game. Now we're going to talk about some stats and some facts. So, they have faced each other in a European competition once before, with Dortmund winning 1-0 on aggregate in the quarter-finals in 1998. But they did go on to lose to Real Madrid in the semis. So, although they beat Bayern, they did actually go out of the competition. So far, in 2012-2013, they have played twice, with Bayern Munich winning the quarter-finals of the DFB Pokal. I think that's like their League Cup, isn't it? And they had a 1-1 draw in December in the league. So far so good for Bayern Munich. They're unbeaten. Dortmund have dominated Bayern in the Bundesliga since early 2010, which is the last time Bayern beat them in the league. Now, I wasn't too sure about that, so can you confirm in the comments, guys, if that's true? Since then, Dortmund have won 4 out of 5 matches against Bayern Munich, outscoring them by a combined margin of 8-2. So when you look at it like that, it's not as one-sided as some people think, eh? Although Bayern Munich is very much in form, like I said previously. And now for the last bit of the video, guys, we're going to talk about some questions that I've received on Twitter. The first one is from actually Matt. I'm not going to read out his handle there, it's a bit long. Will the points gap have a psychological effect on both the Bayern and the Dortmund players? By that, he obviously means in the league, and the fact that Bayern have already won it by a big distance. I mean, a lot of points. I personally don't think it's going to have an effect at all. I think, if anything, it's going to motivate Dortmund more because they've lost out on the league and they're going to want to win tonight so bad. And I think Bayern could be a little bit complacent, you know. They could think, right, the league's been relatively easy this year. We've beaten them by many points. Let's just go ahead and do it again tonight. So I don't think there's going to be much of an effect. Next question is from another Matt Francis. Who do you think will handle the pressure the best? Bayern have fallen a few times in the final. Can they finally win it? I believe so, yes. I think Bayern will win it. I think they will handle the pressure just that little bit better. They've got a much more experienced, older side. Dortmund have a lot of very young players, and I think that it's going to be a real, I don't want to say a daunting experience for them, but they will be a bit of a like, whoa, you know. At least Bayern Munich have got experience of this, despite losing, obviously. Next question is from Dylan Miller. He says, do you think Götze made the right decision joining Bayern? And the reason I've put this in is because I can't really have my own opinion on this because I think it's too early to tell. I think if they do really well next season, yes, it was the right idea for him to join. But in terms of betraying his team, his loyalty to Dortmund, he's been there since a kid, and all the fans that love him, I think that could be a bad decision. But let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. But that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you enjoyed the match tonight. I'll be tweeting live during the match. Hopefully it's a good one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next season for some more breakdowns.
The final whistle confirming victory for Bayern Munich.